Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video I'll show you how I painted the DOOMWEAVER to a quick and easy tabletop ready standard. Here's the model we'll be painting in this video, and this is the DOOMWEAVER from the Tarantulos Brood Warcry warband. And I've also painted the BROODMASTER and also the spider swarms. So using these three videos and all the techniques in them, you'll be able to paint all the members of the warband. I'll put a list of all the paints used in this video in the description below, and also some links so that you can save up to 20% on the retail price. The brushes I'll mostly be using are the Citadel starter brush and the medium shade brush as well. And so here's the model all primed, and for this I use the Citadel colour Wraithbone contrast undercoat spray, and this is perfect for the contrast painting method. Right, let's get started, and the first paint is the contrast Basilicanum grey, and for this I took a old big brush and I'm just going to give one thick coat of this contrast paint all over the base. And if you'd like to see how the base is done, I've done lots of videos of that on the channel too. Next is Contrast Skeleton Horde. I'm just going to use this for the skull that you can see on the base here. And so give that quite a generous coat. This dries quite thin, so you can put quite a lot of this on, and you certainly want to get it into those recesses. Then we're on to the Contrast Black Templar. And now I'm going to just paint this little spider that you can see on the back of the cloak here. So I'm just being careful to keep it on the spider and not get any on the cloak. And then I'm going to take some Sky Grey by Vallejo 0.989, my very vegan makeup brush. This has got some great soft bristles, and it's also got a little point to it, which is really handy for dry brushing on the base. So I'm working that into the bristles and take as much paint as I can off onto some kitchen towel, and then gently dry brush over, bringing out all the texture of the base and all those raised areas, and that's just going to bring that to life a little bit. The next paint is a layer paint called Troll Slayer Orange, and now that black is completely dry, I'm just going to go over the little pointy bits of the legs. So I'm just using my brush to gently put a little bit of paint over those edges, and then just turning the model to put a little line on the body as well. Then it's back to the contrast paints, this time Magos purple. This is quite a pale purple, and I'm going to use this for the skin. So any areas of flesh that you can see exposed, just give that a nice coat. And here you want to start and end your brush strokes where you want most of that paint to build up in those recesses, certainly where the bits of material meet the kind of skin there, and then use the texture to wipe off the paint onto the model, then push and pull it around until you're happy you've got a nice even coat. Then we're going to move on to the contrast Basilicanum grey again, and now this time I'm going to paint all the parts of the weapon that I want to keep this colour. I'm not going for a metallic look this time. I want this to almost be like it's parts from some kind of spider beast. So this is just going to get a nice coat of Basilicanum grey, and then just pick out the pointy end here as well, and a little bit of the handle further up. And then we're going to do these little bits on the top, these little spikes on that head piece as well. They're going to get a little coat. And then finally, you've got some like little claws, some little hooks here at the bottom. Give those a coat too. Then we'll take some contrast Snakebite leather, and this is going to finish off that weapon by just doing some of the other parts on it, and also some of the other parts of the spikes as well. So just a nice even coat of this. You don't want to flood it with paint, don't put too much on, just enough to give it a nice covering, and then pick out all these little horns as well, and little spikes that you can see dotted around, and a nice leather piece here that's a bit of armour for the shoulder. Then it's a nice contrast Akhelian green, and this is a stunning colour that I think is perfect for the robe that he's wearing here. So this is going to get a little bit more paint now because we've got a lot of surface area to cover, and there's also a lot of texture in this that we want that paint to run into. And when you're doing a large area like this, you don't want it to stain, so you don't want it to dry in sections before you've covered the whole piece. So use enough paint here so that you don't have that happening. So you want it all to cover the whole robe before it dries. So just make sure you've got the decent sized brush and you're giving enough paint. But again, don't flood it with too much because you're just going to swamp it. You're just getting that balance right with the amount you put on your brush, and that's just going to come with some practice. Then I take some base Wraithbone paint, and now I'm going to tidy up any little areas that I've gone over with the wrong colour, any little mistakes, and this is going to keep it nice and neat going on to the next stage. And for that stage, we're going to take some Coelia green shade, and this is going to go on all these kind of tassels that are hanging down. And this just worked out to be a great colour. I thought I was going to use some different contrasts, maybe a Space Wolf's grey, but I just found this was perfect. It really worked nicely, and it's nice and pale to almost give that spider web effect, but keeping some colour in there as well. So I'm painting in all the bindings on the wrist, making sure the handle's going to get some too. The little bit that's going around like the face covering here, that you can see that. And then also this net. So being a bit more generous with the paint with this net because of all the textures. There's a lot of surface area we want to cover. So really pushing that paint in there and making it do its job. Then we go on to some Zealot yellow from Speed Paint by Army Painter. And this is a great yellow. It's kind of yolky, so it's a bit orangey in the shade, in the deeper shadow areas. And I think it's going to work really nicely, especially for the sash. So we get a really nice deep yellow, and yeah, that egg yolky colour is really going to come through when you put more paint on. And you can see I'm not being shy with the paint here because I really want those to be dark in the recesses. Next, it's some base paint again. This time it's Leadbelcher, and this is going to go on the little Chaos star that you can see on the back of the model here. And then also we're flipping round to the front, and then we're just going to paint over this buckle here. So this whole piece is going to get one coat of Leadbelcher, and that's going to be all we need. Then once that's dry, we're going to take some contrast Shyish purple again, and this time is a darker purple, so this is going to be completely different to that Magos purple. And I'm just going to take my time and put one dot on each eye. This is the worst part for painting for me. And then I'm going to open up the Shyish purple and Magos purple, and I'm just going to do a little wet blend on this kind of belt buckle. So I start with the darker Shyish purple and cover about a third of it. Then I put the Magos purple on and then just blend them together on the piece. It's just going to be a very subtle fade. Then it's some Sky Grey by Vallejo again, and we'll do that same technique with dry brushing, but this time I'm going to go over all the parts we painted grey and Snakebite leather. And this is just going to bring out the texture, give us those highlights, but also sell the idea that these are dusty, maybe like cobwebs hanging off them. I'm also going to go over this little net as well, really to like dull that down a little bit and bring those raised areas out, make them a little bit brighter, and then go over all the very tips of the spikes and horns too. Then it's time for the base, so I take some Abbadon black, a little bit of blue tack on the end of my brush, and then that's going to hold the model nicely in place so we can spin it on a little turntable, and then 2 nice coats of this black is all we're going to need to finish the model and give that a nice trim all around the rim of the base. And there we go, that's our DOOMWEAVER complete, and I was really happy how this turned out. Not many colours for this one, nice simple techniques, and 1 coat is pretty much all we needed on most areas. And I love that greeny blue, the way that came out on the cloak. I think it worked really nicely, and just a nice simple base to sell the idea that they're in some kind of cave with all these spiders scuttling around on the floor. These techniques work really nicely with the Broodmaster as well, and the face I did a kind of wet blend with, but also just that 1 coat of purple on the back worked nicely. And I think just a few extra steps involved in this one, so if you want to see that video, that's up on the channel too. But I think the brightness really worked. I was going to dull it down a bit at the end, but I decided to keep it nice and bright. I've done some videos for the Dark Oath Savages as well. I think I've done 3 altogether, so if you want to check those out, they're on the channel. But everything we covered here should pretty much get you through the whole warband for your Tarantulos brood. But in particular, you can also go and watch the video for the Broodmaster, and also a video for the Spider Swarms. And that's a quick video. There's only a few techniques involved in that one. I'll put a list of all the paints used in this video in the description below, and affiliate links so you can save up to 20% on all the products that were featured. And if you want to see how to paint the terrain from Red Harvest, I've done a video for that, and also an unboxing if you haven't picked it up already. And so I'll put some links in the description that'll take you to Wayland Games and Element Games, where you can save 20% on Red Harvest. Now at the moment, Element Games has got an amazing offer on. £97.50 will get you this set. You're going to save 25%, and it's a brilliant set. I don't think you can go wrong for £97.50 for what's included. Fantastic terrain, great miniatures, the rule book, and everything you need to play in that one box. Can't recommend it enough. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it gave you an idea of how quick and easy it is to get some tabletop ready models painted using contrast paints. But I'd love to know what you think about this, so let me know in the comment section below. It'd be awesome to hear your feedback. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.